There are moments in human history when something silent, almost invisible, begins to move behind the scenes of reality. And even before anyone gives it a name, the body feels it, the soul senses it, and the earth itself starts to respond. According to a new communication from Commander Ashtar Sheran, one of those moments has already begun. He reveals that an unfamiliar energy, alive, conscious, and purposeful, is now approaching our planet. It is not a random cosmic fluctuation, nor the echo of a distant star. This force interacts directly with Earth's vibrational field, reshaping layers we cannot see but are deeply connected to. And although much of humanity still walks unaware, the change is not waiting. It is unfolding now. Ashtar describes this presence as something far beyond a wave of light or a seasonal frequency spike. It behaves like a living intelligence that scans, reads, and reorders what has been out of harmony for too long. It doesn't invade. It adjusts. It doesn't impose. It recalibrates. And the first effects are already being felt, subtly, quietly, almost like a whisper vibrating through the nervous system. The magnetic field of the planet is shifting in response, as if receiving instructions from a source outside our current understanding. Layers of thought, memory, and collective emotion are being stirred, and those who are energetically sensibles feel the tremor before the explanation. This isn't the future approaching, it's the present transforming. What is approaching Earth is not just an energetic gust passing through the galaxy. Ashtar emphasizes that this presence behaves like a consciousness, subtle yet precise, silent yet intentional. It doesn't move randomly through space. It seeks resonance. It reads vibration. It understands what must be dissolved and what is ready to expand. This energy does not arrive with aggression or disruption. Instead, it interfaces with what is already here, like a tuner placing its hand near the strings of an instrument, sensing where harmony has been lost. It observes the dense layers of human emotion, the worn-out structures of collective belief, and the vibrations held in the memory of the planet itself. Then, without confrontation, it begins the process of realignment. Ashtar explains that it is not here to punish or rescue. It does not operate through fear or superiority. Its nature is corrective and revelatory. Imagine a light that does not push shadows away but makes them transparent. Imagine a frequency that does not destroy what is weak but invites it to transform or release. This force is already interacting with Earth's vibrational scaffolding, the subtle architecture that sustains life. It is touching the grids that connect consciousness to matter, emotion to memory, and intention to manifestation. In doing so, it is starting to influence biological rhythm, mental patterns, and even the electromagnetic pulses that regulate the planet. Many will try to explain it through science, spirituality, or intuition, but none of these perspectives alone will define it. It is bigger than a belief system and more ancient than any cosmology we know. It arrives not as a guest, but as a reminder of what was always meant to awaken. And as it approaches, the contrast becomes clearer. What is rigid begins to fracture. What is artificial loses its grip. What is authentic starts to rise to the surface, not as a rebellion, but as a natural consequence of resonance. The world may not recognize it yet, but the field does, and little by little, every living system will feel the call to vibrate differently. Even though most of humanity has no conscious awareness of what is unfolding, the first ripples of this energy have already begun to move through the planet. Ashtar explains that the energetic field of Earth is not reacting with panic or resistance. It is responding as if recognizing something ancient, something it was always meant to realign with. Imagine the layers of Earth's subtle anatomy, its magnetic grids, its crystalline memory, its emotional reservoirs, receiving a signal that bypasses logic and speaks directly to frequency. This intelligence begins adjusting not from the surface, but from the interior structure of existence. It's not loud, it's not chaotic, it's precise. The early effects don't come as explosions or catastrophes. They come as shifts in the invisible scaffolding that holds collective emotion and planetary coherence. The human mind may not understand it, but the nervous system does. The pulse of the planet does. The timelines woven into human experience begin to loosen, as if something is untangling knots that were never meant to remain. Ashtar says that this force isn't measuring humanity by its noise, but by its vibration. And vibration is changing, quietly, beneath the skin of civilization. Patterns of thought that once circulated automatically now feel heavy. Emotional cycles that repeated for generations are beginning to crack. The old templates are being touched by something that does not ask for permission, because it doesn't need to argue with what no longer serves evolution. Some will interpret this as restlessness, confusion, or sudden sensitivity. Others will feel a subtle sense of detachment from what previously felt important. The collective field is like a giant ocean, and this new energy is changing its tide from below the surface. The surface doesn't show the cause yet, but the current already knows, and it is only the beginning. As this energy continues to interact with the planet, it begins to translate itself into sensations within the human body and the emotional field. Ashtar explains that the recalibration does not start with the intellect. It begins with the systems that sustain life at the most basic level: the nervous system, the heart field, the cellular memory, and the circuits of perception that science has not yet fully mapped. Many will feel an unusual fatigue, one that does not match their daily routine or physical effort. It is not exhaustion. It is the body shifting resources to adapt to a different frequency. Others will feel pressure in the head, particularly around the temples, forehead, or crown, as if something is expanding behind the eyes or above the mind. These sensations are not attacks or malfunctions. They are indicators of energetic synchronization. Sleep will also change. Dreams may become vivid, symbolic, intense, or strangely real, as if consciousness is being prepared for something it has not yet remembered. Some will wake up feeling as though they traveled elsewhere, or like the night was longer than the hours suggest. The subconscious is being reorganized to release what cannot accompany the new resonance. Emotionally, a quiet rebellion is taking place. Things that used to provoke anger, fear, or anxiety may now trigger a strange neutrality, or the desire to step away instead of engaging. Social noise feels louder. The chaos of human drama becomes harder to tolerate. It's not rejection, it's energetic incompatibility. Ashtar describes this phase as the moment when the body and the soul stop negotiating with dissonance. Even those who do not believe in anything beyond the physical world will feel something shifting. They may not call it spiritual, but they will sense an unexplainable need for silence, for slowing down, or for creating distance from routines that no longer feel natural. And all of this is only the outer layer of what is happening. The deeper movements are occurring in silence, below conscious awareness, and yet every heartbeat is receiving the message. To help humanity understand what is occurring, Ashtar offers an image that speaks beyond science and doctrine. He compares the earth to a great musical instrument, and every being to a vibrating string within it. For ages, many of these strings have fallen out of tune, not out of failure, but out of long exposure to fear, distortion, survival, and forgetfulness. The disharmony became so common that most no longer recognized it as disharmony. What is unfolding now is not destruction, but retuning. Ashtar explains that when a master musician begins to tune an instrument, they do not start by breaking the strings. They listen, they feel the resonance, they identify where the tone bends, where the harmony is missing, and from there, they adjust the tension with precision. This energy approaching the earth acts with the same intelligence. It is not forcing the planet into a new sound. It is restoring a sound that was always meant to be heard. Every vibration that is misaligned with the new symphony becomes audible in a new way. Not through noise, but through contrast. People feel it as inner pressure, restlessness, changes in perception, or the sudden inability to tolerate what once felt normal. It is not discomfort without purpose. It is the frequency adjusting the chord. Ashtar says that humanity has been improvising in a scattered orchestra, where each instrument has played in survival mode, trying to be heard over the noise. But now, a new conductor, this intelligent energy, is lifting the baton, not to command, but to reharmonize. Instead of conflict, it invites coherence. Instead of dominance, it invites resonance. Instead of chaos, it invites recalibration. This process is not loud, but it is powerful. It does not require belief, but it activates recognition in the soul. And those who are tuned first will not be the loudest. They will be the ones who can hold a note of clarity in the middle of collective static. The earth is not being prepared for a performance. It is remembering the music it was always meant to play. Ashtar emphasizes that what is arriving on earth is not a force of collapse, but a frequency of correction. This energy does not come to destroy what exists. It comes to dissolve what no longer carries life. It behaves less like an invader and more like a healer, recalibrating the systems that have been overcharged, polluted, or numbed by centuries of disconnection. He describes it as a form of vibrational medicine that moves without sound or color, yet penetrates layers of the human field that few understand consciously. It is not interested in appearances, but in resonance. It is not impressed by structures of power, but by coherence. Wherever it finds density that resists evolution, old emotions, stagnant beliefs, trauma held in the body, pain stored in memory, it begins a subtle unraveling. But this unraveling does not always feel gentle. Some will experience a sudden disinterest in situations, relationships, or behaviors that once felt familiar. Others may feel waves of emotion rise to the surface without clear explanation. Sadness, irritability, longing, or an inexplicable need to withdraw. This is not a breakdown, it is a release. The energy does not strip away for the sake of emptiness. It clears space for remembrance. Ashtar reveals that this force is not pushing humanity into something new. It is pulling humanity out of what has kept it small. And in that process, people will feel the difference between what is authentic and what is performative, what is nourishing and what is draining, what is aligned and what is merely habitual. On the planetary level, this recalibration is affecting currents in the ionosphere, the heartbeat of the Schumann resonance and the crystalline grids deep within the Earth's body. On the human level, it is interacting with the nervous system, the emotional field, and the subtle circuits of intuition and memory. This phase is not about punishment or reward. It is about purification through frequency, the kind that loosens, softens, and melts away the outdated layers that once felt permanent. And even though much of the process happens in silence, it is not invisible to the soul. The energy is not here to take something from humanity. It is here to return what was forgotten. And as we step deeper into this journey of awakening, something extraordinary begins to unfold within the collective psyche. It's not merely a shift in ideas, but a quiet dismantling of everything we once assumed to be permanent. There is a growing realization that nothing about our reality is random. Our connections, our impulses, our sudden flashes of intuition are part of a coordinated symphony designed to guide us forward. Many people who once ignored their inner voice are now experiencing moments of inexplicable clarity, as if a veil has been lifted for just long enough to remind them of who they truly are. This awakening is not loud or dramatic for most. It arrives gently, through dreams that feel more real than waking life, through déjà vu that stirs old memories from other realms, through encounters with strangers who somehow feel like family. And in these subtle moments, something profound ignites, the memory of our cosmic origins. The soul recognizes itself not as a random spark of consciousness, but as a traveler, an ancient being that chose this exact moment in history to return and assist. The discomfort many feel is not a symptom of failure, but evidence that the old frequency can no longer sustain the truth emerging from within. At a deeper level, there is a calling, a resonance, drawing many toward star knowledge, energy healing, light codes, and multi-dimensional guidance. People who never considered themselves spiritual are beginning to feel an unexplainable fascination with the stars, as though something familiar is calling them back. This is no coincidence. The Earth, as a living consciousness, is transmitting a new vibrational field, and those who are meant to rise with it are beginning to recalibrate to its rhythm. They don't always have words for it, but they feel the pulse of something immense moving through the unseen layers of existence. As more souls respond to this inner resonance, a quiet reorganization of consciousness begins to take place. People are no longer satisfied with surface-level answers or diluted truths. They are seeking direct experience, deeper connection, and a remembrance that transcends the limits of ordinary perception. This is why so many are feeling an almost magnetic pull toward meditation, frequency work, sacred geometry, celestial origins, and the rediscovery of lost civilizations. They are not escaping reality, they are decoding it. And something even more significant is happening. Timelines are diverging. Individuals are noticing that their emotional responses, their decisions, and even their perception of time are no longer aligned with what the collective used to define as normal. They may find themselves disengaging from conflict more easily, feeling repelled by lower vibrational environments, or sensing that their future is being rearranged by forces far beyond logic. This is not imagination, it is alignment. There is also a rising awareness that guides, councils, and star families are not external fantasies, but conscious collaborators in this planetary transition. They communicate through intuition, synchronicities, recurring symbols, sound frequencies, and energetic downloads that sometimes arrive as pressure in the chest, ringing in the ears, or sudden emotional waves. Those who once doubted now pause, reflect, and realize something is trying to reach us, and it always has. Ashtar reminds us that this is a pivotal moment in the evolution of Earth and humanity. The energies arriving now are not to be feared, but embraced. They are invitations to remember our true potential, to awaken the dormant abilities within, and to step fully into our role as co-creators of reality. Every shift, every wave, every subtle adjustment is an opportunity to release what no longer serves us and to align with the higher frequency of life itself. The recalibration of the planet is mirrored in each of us. When we honor our inner guidance, listen to the subtle signals of our body and soul, and choose presence over distraction, we participate consciously in this transformation. This is the time to nurture stillness, to deepen connection with the heart, and to harmonize our energy with the rhythms of the cosmos. The changes may feel intense, but they are gifts. They dissolve limitation, awaken clarity, and unlock potentials that have always existed within. Ashtar calls each of us to awaken intentionally. Meditate, breathe, observe the signs in your dreams, step away from what no longer resonates. Allow your consciousness to expand and embrace the higher frequencies that are arriving now. Connect with your inner light and the planetary pulse. Share this awareness with others. The more we rise together, the more the collective field shifts. The time is now to consciously co-create a world aligned with harmony, compassion, and light. Remember, you are not alone. You are part of a cosmic symphony that is being tuned in this very moment. Listen, align, act. Your presence matters. Your vibration matters. Your awakening matters.